Hi, this is Paul. And I wanted to make this video, and I actually wanted to make it last night because I was kind of fired up from what happened. The Met game was rained out last night, so they played a doubleheader today. And this will give you an update date. The Mets lost the first game, uh, again in heartbreak, in typical Mets fashion, with Garrett giving up a grand slam coming in when the game was 2-2. I think he gave up that. Forget about Granson. Anyway, the Mets won the second game. They switched the lineup. They put Francisco Lindor second and put Brandon Nimmo first. Okay, and they drove in, I think, all the 7 runs that the Mets scored, and they beat the Brewers 7-3. And Edwin Diaz got a 4-out save, but they snapped the 4-game losing streak and they won. But so there's that. I wanted to get that out of the way. Okay, but of course my Mets, and I made a video about this, which I think was my video prior to this one, I think. No, not prior to this one. I think 2 videos back where I talked about the Mets slump. This is the first real kind of slump that the Mets have been going through. They lost 13 of 16, and now I guess it would be 14 by 17 or something because they won today. But anyway, the thing I wanted to talk about, because I kept seeing this, like I said, I'm a Met fan, New York Met, long-suffering Met fan, and what other Met fan would there be? Okay, given the Met history. But again, I'm a Met fan, so I watch the podcasts of different people, Wardy, Metcast, of course, the Rico Grown podcast for Evan Roberts and stuff. I watch the podcast, and I go to certain forums and just to read the people's other people's comments, other Met fan comments and stuff, and I watch Why I'm a Met Fan, that great podcast by the 2 young ladies at the sports reporters in Syracuse. In fact, I watched that today. They put out another video, so that was good. But anyway, I'm a Met fan, okay, and I go to a couple of games a year with me and my brother and stuff, and I'm a long-suffering Met fan, okay, and it's still my hope to go to a World Series because the last time the Mets were not the last time the Mets were in the World Series. The last time the Mets won a World Series in '86, I was actually stationed in Turkey at the time, but thankfully my mom, my late mom, she taped the games and sent it to me, so I had the tapes on video, the games on tape and stuff, and she sent me, and so that was really good because we were overseas. We'd get the games we listen to the games on Armed Forces radio, but we get them 2 days later after the fact. Okay, but anyway, my main thing is this. Okay, now people were trying to come up with all kinds of reasons why the Mets were slumping so hard because of course in the beginning of the year the Mets great pitching and stuff, a great bullpen. Okay, but the Mets the Mets have always kind of, I think even since last year, they've had a hard time hitting with runners in scoring position. I think they're next to last in that category of runners hitting with runners in scoring position. It's just something they don't do very well at all. Okay, that's one of the reasons. And lately now the Mets have, they had two of their starting pitchers went down. Kodak Senga went down, and Tyler, I forgot his name. Tyler, he went down too, but he was going to get switched out anyway. Anyway, Frankie Montas came up, and excuse me, he played a good game, the first game, and then he got shellacked with Pittsburgh on Sunday after a team meeting. He gave up like 5 runs, just was pitching bad in practice. But anyway, my main gist of this, because people were trying to come up with reasons why the Mets were, and there are a myriad of reasons. Like I said, Lindor was slumping. Even Alonso, it's been a while since he hit a home run, and excuse me. And basically, from the whole 7 to 9 in the Met lineup is just basically almost automatic outs. They got the young kids, Vientos, who had a great year last year, a great playoff. He's been, he's basically wet the bed this year. He got hurt and then got sent down. He came back up, and even over the course of these 3 games with the Pirates, I think he was like one for 12 or something like that. He just striking out and just having a horrible sophomore year. And of course, Brett Beatty was he brought up to try to get the job, and then he sucked at first, so they sent him back down. And he came back up, and he was hot for a minute, and now he kind of fell back to earth a little bit. They brought up Mauricio. They had Acuna. They sent back down. They sent Alvarez down. There was a lot of reasons, and plus, like I said, the Mets starting pitching and Griffin Canning, got hurt too as well. He's out for the year. He tore his Achilles. So, and lately also David Peterson, who's probably one of the Mets' better pitchers, he had 2 lousy outings in a row after he had 2 really great outings. I was even at one of the games when when he beat the Dodgers and stuff. He had this. I think he struck out Ohtani like 3 times. It was just great. I was there for that, and I think he had a complete game. The 2 starts before that, he had a complete game, and that was great to see. But he's been slumping lately. Now he starts tomorrow. Let's see, hopefully. But I noticed something when I was going through all these, the forums and stuff, and and seeing people respond onto podcasts and stuff. And I noticed a theme. Okay, the Mets, of course, had Pride. June was Pride Month. Okay, and I think I forgot what day it was, but the Mets had like Pride Night. Okay, and they had the flag, the Pride flag flying and all this stuff. And so a lot of people were saying ever since the Mets, disrespected the flag by putting up the Pride flag, the Mets have been awful, going through this awful stretch. Okay, and I constantly see people, constantly chime. Not everybody, but I see little nuggets saying, "Oh, the Mets. It was because of Pride Night. That's why the Mets are sucking right now." Okay, besides all the obvious reasons and stuff, but somehow you get this small segment of people that keep saying it was because of Pride Night. It was why the Mets are sucking right now. Okay, which I just and I had it last night because I was getting ready to watch the Met game, and of course the Met game got rained out for a doubleheader today, and then somebody was commenting and saying, "Oh yeah, because the Mets are disrespecting the flag. That's why And I guess the host, he kind of acknowledged it and kind of moved on off of it. But this stupid guy kept saying, "Oh, I'm glad you're saying it," because a lot of people a lot of podcasts are avoiding the subject, and there's a reason why they're avoiding the subject, because you're prejudiced. Okay. The Mets are not having a bad stretch because of a Pride Night, of a Pride flag. Okay, that's the most idiotic excuse I ever heard for the Mets having a horrible situation where they're having right now. There's tons of reasons why the Mets were playing a bad stretch, besides the not hitting in with runners in scoring position. The 2 injuries to the starting pitching, the bullpen being overworked. Okay, and Lindor, besides tonight, after tonight, he kind of busted out of a slump, but he's previously been, ever since I think he hurt his toe, he's been slumping. Okay, and even Alonso, hasn't hit. He's got his hits here and there, but he hasn't hit a home run. I think in a while. Okay, so and plus, like other people say, from the positions 7 to 9 in the batting order for the Mets are just basically automatic outs. Okay, and of course Viento's having a horrible sophomore slump. Jesse Winker got hurt. Okay. Like I said, all these young kids that they brought up are really not, holding on to their jobs, the position to be either third baseman or second baseman. It's just been a myriad of things. But Pride Night is not one of them. Okay. But the very fact that these people keep bringing it up, it set me off last night when I saw it again. I just said this is so I got to make a video to talk about it, because this is absolutely ridiculous that these few idiots will keep concentrating on this, saying, "Oh, it was because of Pride Night. That's why the Mets are going through this rough stretch," which is absolutely asinine. Okay, it just boggles my mind. But then again, I guess you should figure some people, there's just some horrible people in the world that are just intolerant of other people and just will come up with any kind of excuse just to crap on other people. Okay, and remember, baseball, which I love. Remember, there was a time when black people couldn't play, Latino people couldn't play baseball, okay? Because why? Because of prejudice, okay? And the very fact that you got these idiots that keep bringing up, saying it was because of Pride Night, excuse me, because of Pride Night, that the Mets were going through this horrible slump, okay? Which is it's absolutely asinine to say that. And all these morons that keep bringing it up, I even answered a few of them in some of the forums and stuff. It's actually beyond ridiculous, and you really even don't want to give it voice. But I just saw, again, last night, it just set me off when I saw when the stupid guy mentioned it. I just set me off, and I know the reason why a lot of people is not mentioning it, because Pride Night is not the reason why the Mets are going through this horrible stretch. There's a lot of reasons, okay, and raising a pride flag is the least of it, okay, and the very fact that these idiots don't realize, okay, the Mets are a business, okay? The New York Mets believe it or not, there are business, okay? And what's the goal of a business? The goal of a business is to make money, okay? And how do you make money? By getting fans to come in and buy stuff, okay? So if Steve Cohen, who's the owner of the Mets, okay, wants to expand his fan base and have nights, he had Pride Night and he has other different celebrations and stuff because he wants to increase the fan base. He's not doing this to piss anybody off. He's doing this to be tolerant and respectful of other people and other people's differences. And the very fact that these idiots don't realize they probably more than likely got somebody in their family that's gay or lesbian or something, and they don't realize it by disparaging it, saying, "Oh, because of Pride Night, the Mets are not going to stop Pride Night." Okay, so and that's not the reason. And the very fact that these people keep bringing it up, it just shows you how small-minded they are. Okay, and the fact that they gotta keep saying, "Oh, the Mets disrespected the flag by doing this," just shut up. Okay, it just I don't know, just really pissed me off that these idiots keep bringing it up, saying, "Oh, this is why the Mets are losing because because of Pride Night. They raised pride, they disrespected the flag. Oh, and they don't think about other people." Shut up. Okay, it just amazes me how intolerant of other people are. Okay. Let people live their lives, okay? Stop trying to micromanage everybody. There's a lot of reasons why the Mets are going through this slump. And Pride Night, raising the pride flag, it was not the reason, okay? So grow up, okay? Okay? And try to, act like a human being, like a decent human being. I know that might be tough for some of you knuckle draggers who can't tolerate other people and their differences, but get with the program, okay? The Mets Pride Night is not going away, okay? So suck it up, Buttercup, and get used to it. Anyway, let me know what you think of these few idiots that keep bringing this up, saying, "Oh, it's pride because of pride." Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave comments down below. In the description box, I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Also have a link to my main channel, Trepacer, in the description box as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. My Patreon is only $5 a month. Over 200 videos on there, 5 different categories. You get 5-minute preview clips of all the content that's on my Patreon page. Follow a link, it'll take you to that. There. Also have a link down below to my merchandise store. As you can see, I'm wearing my Trepacer t-shirt. I also have the spherical circles. That's the other design I have on t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, hoodies, water bottles, teddy bears for men, women, unisex. Follow link. It'll take you to the store. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Paul saying so long and take care.